All right, and we're live, Don. How you doing today,
What's
buddy?
going on? Not too bad. Yourself?
Not bad at all either. Doing all right. So, on this third episode, what I wanted to talk about was what it means to be an independent filmmaker, and
Hmm.
how independent are we really? So I kind of want to, because I know we started these episodes talking about being an independent filmmaker, and then we're making a lot of comparisons between being a major filmmaker working with studios, and I want to touch upon our perspectives, and give light more to what it means to be an independent filmmaker. I have some thoughts I'd like to share on it, and I don't know if you want to, like, if that brings anything to mind to
Yeah,
you that you want to touch upon.
yeah. So I'll tell you what, Jimmy. Why don't you start with some of your thoughts because
Okay.
I'd love to hear some of your thoughts,
Okay.
and then I'll kind of chime in a little bit later.
All right. I think for me the catchphrase, what I'm adding at the end of the topic, is how independent are we really? And I think when you think of the term independent, you're generally go to think about it that it's something you go solo, and maybe like just being a one man band kind of thing. And I want to express how important it is that that's actually contradictive of what you need to do to be successful as an independent filmmaker. And to me, the best classification I can make is when you look at business types. And so you have, as business type, you have sole proprietorship, which is a person owning the business themselves and running it themselves, and then you have partnership, and then you have corporations. So when we look at the major studios, it's corporations with board of directors and outside investors and probably stocks trades, and there's a lot of funds that way. Usually when we think about majors coming into the picture, we perceive them as being a bank and having the funds to back up your project. But even as an
Hmm.
independent filmmaker, that needs to be at the top of your priority of how you're coming up with your funds and making sure that all your expenses are being tracked, and that you're still operating like any other business, tracking your gains and losses. So
Right.
whether um, if you're getting funding within the family, or you're using GoFundMe, you're still using other sources to cover your costs, and that's what I'm getting at. Like, how independent are we as an independent filmmaker? And you still need a team of people to work on a project. You know, there are some people known to do things like a one man band, but that approach, in my mind, you should only go so far. I think you can become more successful when you have somebody dedicated to the lighting, and you have a DP on the project, and if you have some PAs. We're still modeling the infrastructure of a production crew that you would see in a major studio. It's just whenever you look at their credits, they have the funds to have thousands of people working on it. And on our level, there's a lot less. But your goal is still to have a powerful, strong team to
Right.
deliver your end goal as far as your film or whatever you're working on. So that was my thoughts that I wanted to touch upon further and discuss. So
Yeah. I believe that to me, independent filmmaking is about just really just having the small team.
right,
Um, I never looked at it as a one man band. Now I will say, like you said, and you kind of touched upon it, there are some ways in which we might do stuff on our own. When I say our own, with the small people, like not looking at, um, not trying to get Hollywood involved, or I guess not
Right.
going to a studio and pitching a script or whatever.
Right.
Um, there are those things that we do, and to me that's independence.
Right.
Um, Now, are there films that you could be the one man band? Yeah, absolutely. There are some things you can do. There are films that you can definitely shoot by yourself.
Right.
Um, but I think one of the biggest things is having crew that one is equally as motivated as you are to do something that they love.
Right.
Um, and you know, you kind of develop relationships from that because you might they might work on your film and then later they might ask you, hey, well, can you work on my film?
Right.
And really the biggest thing is, if you know that somebody's giving you time from their life and they know they're not getting paid for it, but they're doing something that they're interested in, that
Right.
you're interested in, you better as well pay them back in your time.
Right. Right.
Because the only reason why you got to make your film is because of those people. And so to me that is independent filmmaking. And I look at independent filmmaking as um, there's not this structure, there's not this when I say structure, there's not this financial structure that you're used to as far as getting having a studio sitting there saying, yeah, we're going to sit there and greenlight this film, we're
Right.
not going to greenlight this film. But like you said, there are still jobs. I mean, now it may not be a union shoot
Right.
because union shoots, are much more um, stingent on, electric only works electric.
Right.
This only works this. So, and you have to X amount of hours, and then there's this kind of pay, and then so all that
Right.
um, you're not having to deal with necessarily on an independent shoot. Now there are independent shoots that are union,
Right.
um, so I mean you have that as well, but you know it's kind of like the level of small movie. It's,
Right.
independent film is kind of this large. It's a large name. It's a large title for several different types of filmmaking. Um, but really, I think the biggest caveat is that they're not studio. They're not studio films.
Right.
Is what creates an independent film.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think the only time you can actually shoot a movie all by yourself, and you want actors in it, is you have to play every single actor. As a director, you have to write the movie, you have to direct the movie, you
Right.
have to play actor one, actor two, and you have to do all of that by yourself. So if it's a man and a woman, you have to put on a wig and be the woman as well.
Right. Right.
If it's a man and an alien, you have to also be the alien.
You definitely have to
So
go above and beyond more so.
yeah, there's a lot of things you have to do. So I think one of the biggest things is really just kind of understanding. Hey, listen, it is still at the end of the day a team effort,
Right.
and you have to get a team around you.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, you have to get a team.
And that's what I see about independent filmmaker. I hear all the sirens.
Yeah,
As far as it is a broader category because when you try to define it, there is a vast of different structures that can be formulated because it's independent, and I think the key thing to take away from independent is freedom. So basically you have the freedom to see your project more along the lines of your vision. Um, I like to relate it to a song artist, an independent song artist, and one who is signed to a record label, and that we would think it to be more mainstream and commercial, and like we would do with filmmakers that are contracted by studios. Um, a song artist, being independent, you can do it any way you want it because it's sole proprietor business, and you structure the business you think that works for you. But again, I think it's something that the major studios, we have to take away what they've done right, and try to apply it to our own business models on a smaller scale to try to
yeah,
get there and do it right as well. So, a song artist, they can wear about recording themselves in the studio. They can worry about marketing themselves a certain way. They can worry about composing the songs they want. They can be their own attorney as far as overlooking the contracts. They can be their own booking agent as far as getting gigs. But eventually, as they become more successful, they realize that to be more effective, they need to stop spreading themselves thin.
Right.
And still, even if they've signed themselves as a sole proprietorship business and they're doing business under their artist name rather than being signed to a label, so they're kind of being their own label, they still want to follow that. Again, everybody has their way of doing business and finding what works for them. But I find that you get to a point that you see the importance of dedicating tasks to people who specialize in a certain area to really get the
Yeah.
most out of it. And I agree. Like when you're starting out as a filmmaker, you do with what you have. If you have a small DSLR, if you're shooting by yourself, and you call in favors, and then those favors you hope to return on. And that's part of being an independent filmmaker. But it also
Yeah.
goes. That's not the only thing. That's not the only type of independent filmmaker. We can be addressing independent filmmakers that are taking it to a level where they actually write a business plan for their next film
Right.
project, and they are looking for investors, whether if it's internal, when I say internal, family and friends, or external through banking, loans, or other angel investors or
Right.
whatnot. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, big is, is that it's just we're not we're not we're not being commissioned by the studio
Right, right,
is what an independent would be, because yeah, I mean, I've seen some independent films that are just like you sit there and go, man, how did they get this budget?
right, right,
And they're astounding.
right.
um just
You actually worked on an independent film, so if I may use that as an example, with Jose
yeah,
Yacaman. Um, what was the name of that feature film?
it
You played a
was
major role in that,
Second Coming.
right?
Second Coming.
And that was an independent film,
Hmm.
but it was still structured and very similar in a way that you would perceive a major studio film to be done,
It was.
right? What were some of
It
your job
was.
duties on that, if you don't mind me asking again? Just
Uh, I worked in the camera department. You know, I shot a couple scenes.
right.
There were some scenes where I did shoot. Um,
So
I
camera
was working
operator,
as first AC
first
with
AC. Okay,
Jose
cool.
Casella, the DP.
Right,
Um,
I remember him.
and then also some other things that I was doing was I wound up driving the trucks,
Right,
making sure that, because we had some early on the beginning of the production, we had some issues with trucks and time.
right.
And that's all something that happens. Like, these are all things that happen,
It,
and you
it
just have to
supports what you
figure
were.
out a way around it.
It supports what you were saying before. You're wearing more than one hat. You were being
Yeah.
a camera operator at one point, and another point you're being, working, driving the trucks or whatever you needed to do to fill in
Right.
this for the success of the project.
Right.
Okay.
And there was a lot of really neat things that we did within this film.
Right.
um, and it was a lot of fun. I also was working on the set design, so I was helping the set builder build some of the sets, um, when we were shooting in some interiors in a studio,
Right.
and that was really interesting. Um, See, there was a lot that I did on this project. Um, and again, it was a matter of, you know, it was a good idea to have somebody from camera department to be there, with building the sets, because
Right.
as camera department, I did talk to the DP, and we had a lot of communication with how we're going to go shoot, how we're going to go about shooting something,
Right.
and like, okay, we're going to shoot it like this, okay, perfect, and then so there was a lot of communication, and so because I knew that, I was taking that with me to help the set builder build the sets, and okay, we're probably going to need like a faux wall here that we can move out, um, or maybe we'll have a little camera port here or there. So
Right.
there was a lot of things that I wound up doing that it really helped. So when we did shoot in studio, it really helped with everything.
Right.
So again, it was one of those things where, I wound up being very useful, for the project.
Right, right.
So
Excellent, excellent. Yeah. What are your feelings toward? You brought up an interesting topic, like as far as union. I kind of favor the structure that unions does, even though it's a back and forth thing because at the same time unions can kind of make there's so much policies and regulations that you got to abide by working with union, and it kind of
right,
makes it also in some projects hard to get your foot in the door unless if you are part of the union. But in my mind, I like because there's two sides to everything. So what you're saying is so valid, but I also like the fact that this is your job. Stick to your job and do that.
hmm
And union does that. Like where you don't step on each other's toe. And I, just as important as you're saying, you have to enter a project with the attitude, whatever it takes to get it done. I think another
right,
strong attitude is making sure you don't spread the crew too thin, and
yeah,
making sure that um, if a director is working on a project and he has delegated this task to a certain department head and he has communicated that properly from what his expectations are from that someone else from another side of the crew doesn't come and step on his toes without speaking to the director and knowing what the vision is, and kind of gets in the way of that
yeah.
coming across. So in those cases, I feel like it's really important that know your job, focus on your job, and do your best at that.
So
Eh,
there's a lot of efficiency when you break stuff down into small teams that are dedicated.
Right, right.
Um, let's look at it in special effects. In special effects, you may just have people that are doing textures,
Yeah,
or people that are doing particle effects, um,
you're so right.
and they're just doing that. Now, what that does is, I mean, uh, look at something like the Marvel movies. Imagine if you just had like a small team of people and they did everything at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It, it the time it would take
It's
is
enormous.
extreme.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you have somebody build wireframes, you have somebody do motion captures,
Yep.
you have somebody do texturing, you have somebody do this, and now all of a sudden you're building stuff out, and you have these people. When one team is working on the wireframing, another team could be, okay, well, let's explore some textures or skins
Right.
or colors for skins. So that way, once it's built, you just apply it, and
Right.
it's boom, done.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff that could be done prior to all that, instead of like one team having to go do, okay, now we're gonna do wireframe,
Right.
now we're gonna do this. It's a lot of efficiency um, when you do that.
Yeah. I was losing there
So
for you.
again,
I was
it's
losing you there for a
yeah,
second. But yeah, just to recap on what you were saying, since I was listening for you, I totally agree. Like there's a lot of efficiency. It saves you on time because when you delegate stuff, two people can get the work done in half the time. Four people
right,
can get the work done in quarter of the time. So there's the efficiency on that. And then the other thing is basically developing a skill. It takes time to develop the skill in something. So like you mentioned wireframing, which is also called rigging. So you have someone dedicated to learning rigging, even though they got an overview of the whole 3D modeling, workflow, how things work. When you go into specializing into something, it gives you time to really dig into things that you wouldn't if you were just jumping here and jumping there. There's a lot of physics involved when it comes into rigging a 3D model, and then someone else may be dedicated, like you said, to texture and graph, things that go into how, like even on 3D modeling, someone may be dedicated on lighting on the 3D
yeah,
models. So I guess to bring it into simple terms, into something that we deal on a daily basis is basically like when you think about medicine and you have your general doctor, he overlooks everything, right? But when it comes down to like, there's a specific problem you have, he sends you to a specific, specialist for that, whether if you need a surgeon or whatnot. And, the doctor has a whole overview of everything, but he still gives you
yeah,
the best care whenever he is able to, you know, delegate you to certain things that need to be done with people who
right,
specialize in that. And I feel that's the same. I appreciate that kind of mentality when I work on a film, and I like to revolve myself around, other people working with that mentality because I feel, in my opinion, it's very effective. But but we all start from somewhere, and that's something that you make a valid point. When you start with what you have, and whoever you remember the people that helped you and how they helped you, and you try to return those favors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
And I think that's one of the biggest keys to being a successful filmmaker is,
Right,
okay, somebody helped me out,
right, right,
um, and that's what helps is, as you're on your ride up,
right.
the people you help on your way up are, you know, or the people what's that old saying, like the people you see on your way up are the same people you see on your way down.
Oh, I see. Right, I understand what you're
Is
saying exactly.
is
Yeah,
that what the
I don't know
saying
what the
is?
saying is, but that's self-explanatory. That says it.
You know,
That sums it all up in those
um,
words right there.
so if you help people out, you know, if you're falling down a little bit, you might see those same
They'll
people
be
that
there
might
for
say,
you.
"Hey,
Yeah,
do you think you could help me out?" And you know,
you're
that might
uh,
that might be your saving grace.
great attitude, Don. I totally agree with you on that.
You
You're
know,
so right.
it,
Because even
it's
after so many years that we work on different projects, we still come together and help each other out on
it's
different
very
things here and
true.
there. Yeah. So.
You know,
Hmm.
you know. I mean, and let's face it. There are degrees of narcissism in in in
Define that
in the
as
industry.
when you say narcissism.
And so it's a lot of what I did and me in the
Oh,
me
right,
mentality,
right, right,
and that is something that is, there is that, and we got to call it and if you're
right,
extremely narcissistic and all you think about is yourself on a set, or you only think about the fact that people are helping you in your movie,
right,
and you treat those people like crap,
right.
well, you know if you're falling down, do you think those people who you treated like crap are going to help you?
Obviously not.
So
Right.
there's a great saying in Roadhouse, and I'm going to quote Patrick Swayze here:
Okay.
"Be nice,
Be nice.
just be nice."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
For sure.
be nice, help.
Right.
Be nice. You know, somebody needs you to do something. You may not want to do it, but it may help. So you need to be nice about it. Say, you know what? Yeah, I'll help you out.
I'd like to elaborate on that. I'll turn it to like what is it, like 3 words, or maybe more than 3 words. But work hard and don't take advantage.
Yep.
Simple as that. Work hard and don't take advantage of anyone. Do what you can. Go above as much as you can. Don't take advantage of anyone.
Right.
And hope to have that same kind of attitude in return. We're at 22 minutes or 23 minutes, so we reached the end of this episode, and I think we
Awesome.
come to the conclusion, and the different things that we said that, yeah, with independent filmmaking, there's a freedom that comes to it, and an opportunity to do something, but you still rely on other people to get that done. So you're only
Absolutely.
so independent.
Yep.
All right, Don.
Absolutely.
Any last words you want to throw in there before we sum the show up?
No, be cool and help people out. They'll help you.
Exactly. And good luck to all of you guys and girls working on film projects. All right, take care, and
All
we're
right.
out.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.